some of my earliest memories of Jonathan was walking into the theater. It was a very cold winter, and I had this long leather jacket, and I remember him commenting on my coat. He's like, nice coat, and then I remember saying like, "Where's my coat?" A line from the show, Rent, that is. And him kind of looking at, of course, I don't think it was funny at all. So Jonathan kind of looked at me. He was like, "Okay, yeah, maybe not that funny." I remember him being super passionate about his work and having a passion for life. Well, I can tell you, I'll give you. This is a perfect Jonathan story, which is why I relate to this film also as a creator as well, and the struggle of being an artist. The very first day that I was supposed to audition for the show Rent, off Broadway, I didn't show up the first day because I was working this 12 to 9 o'clock in the morning job, and I overslept because I thought if I just took a little nap that I'd be fresh and ready to go to the audition, right? So, long story short, my agent tears me a new one, and he says, like, you better go there the next day and apologize, but you have another audition. I said, fine. So I go into the room, and the first thing I say to everyone is like, first of all, I have to apologize to everybody because I worked this 12 to 9 job, and Jonathan comes from right behind me. And he says, he's like, that's all right, I wasn't here yesterday anyway because I was working too. And he had that kind of face of like, yeah, as in like, yeah, we're working, we have to do two things at the same time too. So that was a good introduction to him, and I think that was maybe one of the aspects that helped me get hired because I don't think Jonathan was there the day before, and I know that he liked me particularly in the role of Angel, and I think that's what they were looking for.
But there are more people back there.
If anything, Jonathan was just.
I was just like.
Because I know you bought this and I'm not here. That's fine.
No, pardon me for a second. It's all right. Jonathan was everything, and if you've seen the film already, Jonathan was all of that. Jonathan was all passion. Jonathan was all love. Jonathan was. I mean, it takes. It takes his whole life. I mean, it takes a portion of his life, and it's kind of hard to define someone just by a section of their lives. But it actually really takes. It took all the aspects of him and the essence of him, of what he was like, and really presents a clear picture of what he was about. And what he was about his friends. He was about passion. He was about taking the sacrifices, and not, doing the straight job, and working in corporate America and doing that. Being that he had access to it, he didn't have to live that way. He didn't have, and this is why I did relate, and still relate to that. And then after watching the film, was reinvigorated all over again because I was going to be a doctor, and I turned away from that. And I have a funny story about that. A month after I won the Tony, my mom, who's from the Dominican Republic, she sits down with me. We're in the kitchen, and she says, she's like, okay, well, now that you're done with your hobby, now you can go be a doctor again, right? And I'm like, Ma, no, this is what I am. This is what I do. And she's like, okay, I'm just saying you still have time, okay? And there are moments in the film that there was completely related where to be able to make art with someone. His girlfriend's looking at him and going like, you want to take the job, and he's like, you don't have to struggle and do this, and then there's his friend Michael who decides to actually work in corporate America and do that, and asking him to just write jingles, and he's like, no, just and that is definitely the one thing that I do that is completely all Jonathan is that he didn't take he didn't take any as you say in the he didn't take any shorts. He just wasn't going to take second best and go the safe route. He had to follow his passion, and it's why I do, and it's this because Lord knows the entertainment industry, it's a roller coaster, and you know, dealing with the show business and not the show art, and still fighting for the show art. That was him, and that's still me. You know, the show business is fine, but the show art is why we do it. And there's sometimes that you do some for them, and then there's other projects that you do for you. And the great thing about Rent and this, which is what you know, we believe in people's spirits living within their projects. I believe that he's smiling and happy because this Rent was his heart, and it was successful. And Tick Tick Boom, a lesser known project about another show and about his life.
You got me back on Instagram.
I have no doubt that it'll be successful and that it'll reinvigorate a whole new generation of theater nerds and want to do that and go like, I want to be that, because it made me feel that way. It felt like all over again. Like I would feel like, oh, I need to get writing again. You know, I need to get playing again. I need to get, you know, that again and be a creative as well. So that's what Jonathan means to me. He means all of those things, and I just feel blessed. I really do. It's a cliche, but I really do, because you know, I'm this kid from Williamsburg, Brooklyn, back in the day, Brooklyn, that I wasn't even supposed to survive out of that neighborhood, and look what I'm doing. So, you know, right now, every day completely is a gift, and the fact that I'm doing this, it's I feel like I won twice. Because of Jonathan. Yeah.
Thank you. I agree. It's such a beautiful tribute to him, and then a love letter to musical theatre itself and to creative people. Just anyone who wants to make it.
And the struggle as well. You know, the struggle to stay true to, you know, to your art and not bending. You know, to just bending to pure commercialism, and because it has its place, and commercialism has its place completely. But sometimes you need more. Sometimes there needs to be within the commercialism, and it needs to exist, but there needs to be things to break that up. There really need things to break that up, he wanted to do that, which is why there's a line in the film which is absolutely true, where he says, like, I'm the future of musical theater. This is something he actually said. I heard this from Anthony. Anthony said that Anthony Rapp was there, and that they were at a party together, and I think it was a different situation than how it's depicted in the film, but that when someone asked him, you know, who he was, rather than say his name, he says, like, I'm the future of musical theater, and he was, because he knew that he had a different perspective on musical theater and the world, and all he needed was just, you know, a leg up, you know, a leg up, and so, or as they say these days, all he needed was just a little W, you know, and he had that little W by being told that, like, yeah, you're fantastic, and by having Sondheim say, you got it, kid, you got it, just keep on doing it, you know. Sometimes that's all we need. Sometimes that's right, you know, as artists, sometimes that's all we need, is just that. You know, we may not need the money, or whatever. You know, with all the material things, and sometimes all you need is somebody to give you a pat on the back and give you an attaboy, someone that you admire. And all of a sudden it turns into something. I mean, I know that the little attaboys that I had growing up from very few people, because I was the freak in my neighborhood. From a teacher, I remember that there was a teacher in elementary school where we were walking home from school. She happened to live close in the same neighborhood, and she said, "You're special. You're very special, and you're meant for great things. You'll see." And I never forgot that. Her name is Miss Bruno, and I always carried that.
You guys are doing but you're doing such a good job.
He had that in his life. He had his parents that always supported him. And for me, it was having people like Jonathan and people like also like Michael Greif and people in the cast also be supportive of me and us supportive of each other to continue that and continue the spirit of that. So you know, just for being in his presence and working with him in that very brief amount of time and doing his work makes me feel like I just because of that I need to push on because of it constantly and always ask the questions like, you know, what would Jonathan do in this particular case, you know, when it comes to the industry. So yeah, I'll be doing it till the wheels fall off as well, always. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you. You too.